Everyone's heard the rule: keep 6 months of living expenses in an emergency fund. But here's the real question: does that still work today? With layoffs, AI restructuring jobs, and corporate hiring freezes, I don't think 6 months is enough for your emergency fund. This isn't about AI replacing jobs, it's about the bigger picture. Business leaders crave predictability, and that's the thing we don't have right now. We got tariff confusion, wars, messy domestic policies. All of these things cause businesses to pull back. Hiring slows, job freezes start, and we even have a term for it now called job hugging, where everyone is afraid to move from their current company to a new company because they're afraid that they'd be the first one to get cut at the new place where they might have a little bit of longevity at their current employer. This isn't a scare piece, but let's look at some facts. During the Great Recession, which was about a year after I started my corporate career, millions of people went unemployed for well over 6 months. In late 2007, unemployment was about 5%, and less than 2 years later, it was at 10%. And that 10% number isn't even counting people who just gave up entirely and no longer count as being in the workforce. And here's what many people forget. And in fact, if you're 37 or younger, you've never actually lived this, is it's been 17 years, give or take, since we've had a true economic recession with high sustained unemployment. Now, you might argue a couple years ago we had the pandemic cuts, but then there was a massive swing back with a bounce back because of all the government policies. But when we talk about like an economic recession, like in 2007 to 2009 or the dot-com bubble, it's been 17 or 18 years since that has happened. So it's not crazy to think it could happen again soon. Economies are cyclical and we're past overdue for one. So what do you do with this? Step 1, analyze your expenses. The easiest way to do this without going into the nitty-gritty detail on every single thing you spend money on is to put your expenses into two categories: fixed and variable. Fixed is going to be things like your rent or mortgage and utilities, the things that don't stop. Your variable is going to be your eating out, your subscriptions, your delivery apps, things that you could cut back on if you had to. If most of your income goes towards fixed expenses, your emergency fund has to be higher to cover those for a longer period of time. Step 2, save aggressively now. If your emergency fund isn't even 6 months right now, that's not going to cover many of your fixed expenses for a long period of time. So you can worry about investments, which I do like, later. You need to ramp up your savings now. For every dollar you don't spend, especially if you've cut that like permanently from your budget, your safety net stretches longer and grows larger. Step 3, kill off your debt. Debt is an anchor that will hold you down. During the Great Recession, millions of people lost everything, lost their homes, lost their cars, lost their financed furniture because they didn't have the income to pay for those monthly payments once the recession hit. For me, 6 months doesn't seem like enough anymore. I'm laid off and taking a gap year, but even with that, my wife and I are still aiming to have 12 months of living expenses saved up. It gives us peace of mind in a shaky economy. So we're doing little things here and there to earn some income and reduce our spending to make my severance last a little bit longer, but even with that, we're keeping an eye on the emergency fund. But the real point isn't about some magic number, because your situation is going to be different from your friends and your neighbors and mine. It's about doing the math and being actually prepared before the worst shows up. So I'm curious, how large of an emergency fund are you targeting having? Is 6 months enough for you, or do you want 12 or more? Drop a comment, I read every single one. And if you're navigating layoffs, burnout, or rethinking life after corporate, that's what I'm documenting here on this channel. Check out this video, which is about my struggle with burnout recovery, or this one about the 11 financial moves my wife and I made when I got laid off that saved us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.